Ragi Tandira Bhikshege Ragi Tandira Ragi Tandira Bhikshege Ragi Tandira Ragi Tandira Bhikshege Ragi Tandira. This is a very, very famous song from Purandaradasa, who is known as the Dasaptamaha, but he's known as the father of Carnatic music and father of the Dasa Sahitya. The prelude of this song is Ragi is a particular grain which is round and black. So these are supposed to be very healthy. And in traditional times, the Brahmanas or those who were not doing business or not in the administrative class or not in the working class, those who were like teachers or those who were like Brahminical, they would go door to door begging for alms, begging for grains and food materials. So ragi is one of these materials that were given in charity. So it was like a popular thing, especially in Karnataka and South Karnataka. People eat much more ragi than rice or wheat. So this is like a staple food of the Karnataka district. So when this context is very important that charity was given to the Brahmanas in the form of useful substances such as grains. The purpose of giving charity is what needs to be highlighted here and studied further. The main purpose of giving charity was to become qualified as a human being in many ways and develop certain qualities as a human being. And also, this is very interesting that even to be able to give charity, one needs to be qualified. It is not that anybody can give charity to the Brahmanas. So generally the Brahmanas that would go door to door would go to certain qualified homes, qualified in the sense of pious homes, homes where people would earn money in a fair way, and people who were family members, which means they valued family traditions and family customs. So the aspect of charity is not something cheap. It's not something like anybody who throws money or anybody who throws grains will go and grab it. No, we receive charity from certain people with certain basic standards. So that is also a point given here, that we need to be fortunate to be able to give charity. We need to be pious to give charity. People who give charity are pious. Now, the most interesting thing in this song is the word ragi. There's a poetic license that Purandaradasa uses in this language, Kannada language. The lingua word also technically, ragi means that grain. And then there's the word agi without the R, the agi, which basically can be translated as to become or to be. For example, the first line comes, Yogya ragi, bhogya ragi. So if we actually divide the Yogya ragi, agi, it's actually a sandhi, which is the way when two words are joined, combined together, it actually becomes one word with Yogya means qualified and agi means become or to be qualified, to become qualified. So when we actually join these two words Yogya and agi together, it actually becomes Yogya ragi. It's like to tell people, like it's like an instruction, you become qualified. So this is a very beautiful play of words, of using these words that actually make sense, which also sounds like ragi, which is the first sentence of the song. So yogya ragi, bhogya ragi. Bhogya ragi means become people who know how to enjoy life, who knows how to become bhagyavanta ragi. Bhagyavanta means to become fortunate. Bhagyavanta and agi becomes bhagyavanta ragi. So it's a very interesting way of putting these two words together, which creates a whole poetic, meaningful instruction. All right, next is Anna Dhanava Maduvaragi. So Anna Dana means giving in charity. Annadhana is a very famous concept of food for life. People who distribute food. Annadana. So Annadana, Maduvaragi. Maduva means those who are doing, giving. Annadana. So become the person. Be somebody who does Annadana, charity of grains. Then Ragi, Bhagyamantaragi. And also, yeah, become fortunate by providing for people such as like Purandaradasa represented one of the poor brahmanas in those times. So becoming qualified to be able to serve great souls such as Purandaradasa. So Brahminical tradition of begging alms or getting charity is not considered as something poor. It's actually a great fortune to be able to give charity to great saints and personalities such as Purandaradasa. So Bhagyavanta, becoming fortunate, is actually a very important word in this song. Anna Chhatrava Nittavaragi. Anna Chhatra means shelter homes, for example, for people, like that. So become a person, contribute towards creating shelter for others. Anya Varteya Bittavaragi. Anya Varteya basically means don't gossip. Anya Varte means useless talks, meaningless conversations. Varte means also news, technically. We could say give up unnecessary social media in our current times. Anya Varteya Bittavaragi. Anudina Bhajaneya Maduvaragi. So be the person who engages instead in bhajan and chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Maduvaragi means become the person who engages himself in chanting of the holy names. Agi, Rahi, Tandira, Bhikshige Ragi, Tandira. So it makes a difference if we do charity in the right mindset of cleansing ourselves and improving ourselves as human beings. Okay, this thought. Let me hold this thought. Anya Mahatya Vittavaragi, Anudina Bhajaneya Maduvaragi. One bad deed cannot be compensated or cleansed by 3 good deeds. In other words, you may hear in India, it's a very common thing. Oh, let me give charity so I can get rid of some of my bad karma. But actually, that's not the way karma works. There is accumulation of good karma and bad karma. So people who perform good karma, it's like a separate account. It's like, say people plant trees. So somebody planting trees accumulates good karma with planting trees. However, the same person committing certain other activities, such as harming other living entities, such as killing animals, it's considered to be a bad karma. But it's not that because I'm planting 100 trees, and therefore my action of killing 10 animals is mitigated by planting 100 trees. It doesn't work that way. So usually people think that my good karma will mitigate my bad karma, but no, they are separate accounts. And one of the pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam is Maharaj Indrika. So once he gave in charity hundreds and thousands of cows to a particular Brahmana. So when all these cows were going towards the Brahmana's home, one particular cow came back without the knowledge of the king, came back to the kingdom. Nobody noticed it. But when the Brahmana went home and he counted the number of cows, one cow was missing. So he got really upset and he said, I want that cow. But meanwhile, the king had already donated another hundreds and thousands of cows to another Brahmana, along with which herd this particular cow which came back were also given away. So the Brahmana went to this king went to this Brahmana and said, by mistake, one of my cows came back from the charity that I gave. And so I gave charity to you. So the cow is with you. Can I get that cow back? And that Brahmana said, no, that cow is mine now. And the Brahmana said, look, I'll give you another 100,000 cows. Can you take that and be pacified? And that Brahmana A said, no, I want that cow. And what about Brahmana B? I'll give you another 100,000 cows. Can you be satisfied and give back the cows? No, I want that cow. Then basically both Brahmanas are upset. And so even though King Riga gave so many cows in charity, which is considered to be very, very like topmost charity to give cows to Brahmanas, yet for that single unintentional mistake of this cow coming back and giving the whole confusion, he had to actually suffer. So he was asked if he would like to first enjoy the consequences of his good actions, or he would like to suffer for the consequences of his negative actions. So Maharaj Nriga chose to first suffer the negative consequences, and therefore he was cursed to actually become a big, huge lizard. Yeah. So he was actually a lizard for hundreds of years, and then he gets liberated. Anyway, that's a story for another time. But the idea of this is the law of karma works separately, with the good karma and the bad karma are not like mingled, they're separate. So in this song, this thing is brought up that Anyavartiya Bittavaragi Anudina Bhajaneya Maduvaragi. It is again, it's a lifestyle. Charity is a lifestyle, and becoming charitable is a lifestyle. Becoming fortunate is a lifestyle. It's not so much about the action itself. It's more about the attitude in which we perform it. And the right charity is given, because charity can be given in the three modes. We'll come to that. Mata pitaranu seviparagi, papa karmava bittavaragi, ರೀತಿಯ ಬಾಳನು ಬಾಳುವರಾಗಿ ನೀತಿಯ ಮಾರ್ಗದ ಖ್ಯಾತರಾಗಿ. So be the person who serves elders, serves your parents. Be the person who gives up sinful activities. Become that person who lives the life according to the scriptures. Be a just person. Live the life of justice. So because one can be charitable in Satagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. So in Tamagun, somebody could be charitable by, somebody comes and bothers us and give me something. You may have seen in India, beggars come and torture you, harass you to give them some charity. So we may give charity just to get rid of the person and just say, take it, go, And so that's the kind of like charity in the mode of ignorance. So doing it without clear, intentional thought. And there's charity that can be done in the mode of passion. And in the mode of passion, it is like, maybe I want to look good. Actually, social media is a good example. Recently, I saw this funny video of a girl going to a beggar and telling her friend, come on, capture it. And so she goes to the beggar and is giving this food, saying, did you get it? Did you get it? And then she's talking, these people really need help. And the beggar is like really hungry. And he just grabs the food and eats. And then the girl who's shooting says, oh my God, it didn't really come out properly. And then she goes back to the beggar and the beggar has finished eating everything. And then she runs to get another food package so that she can do the video. So that's like typically like charity in the mode of passion. So in the mode of passion, we want to be recognized, we want to be validated, we want to recognition and we want to enjoy the results. Basically, we want to like gain that immediate appreciation for being charitable. So that is not what is recommended here. It is saying Ritya Balanu Baluvaragi. It's like living a life which is, the real charity in the mode of goodness is something that, they say, balgai kottiddi edagai gottagbardu. So if right hand gives charity, even the left hand shouldn't know about it. So that's actually the way to live. That we do it, but we don't do it out of passion. We don't do it out of impulse. We know what we're doing, and we're doing it with an intention to contribute something towards something useful, something purposeful. Next is Kama Krodava Alidavaragi Nemadi Nitya Nema Nityava Maduvaragi Kama Krodava Bittavaragi. Yeah, so becoming willing. See, that's another whole word that kind of comes in. We cannot just become a person free from anger and free from lust and greed, but we can only become willing to ask Krishna to remove these character defects, to remove those anarthas from us, which is actually getting in the way of connecting with Krishna. So willingness to give up lust and anger, becoming willing to dedicate our day and activities in the service of the Lord, with discipline. Yeah, to become a person who is with discipline. Ramanamava japisuvaragi, premadi kuni kuni daduvaragi. So become the person who enjoys chanting the holy name of the Lord every day. Become the person who happily dances and dances out of pure love. And then the last paragraph is Siri Ramanana Dina Nenevaragi Gurutige Bahorantavaragi. So may you become the person who always remembers the Supreme Person, or Ram. May you become, actually there are two versions of the last line. In one it actually says become, like you could become exemplary in your activities as a devotee of the Lord, become like exemplary. And there's another version of it which says become the person who bows down to the Guru and is obedient to the Guru. So there are two versions of the song, but yeah, both are in line with the meaning and the purpose of the song. Yeah, so this is the song Ragi Tandira, Bhikshige Ragi Tandira. Giving charity requires qualification, and giving charity in the mode of goodness with the right intention to the right person actually delivers us from our character defects, such as selfishness, intolerance, anger, lust, and makes us individuals who become qualified, who become fortunate, who become those who follow the instructions of the Guru. In many religious organizations and religious paths, so like they have giving 15% and tithing. They, what is like even Srila Prabhupada said you should give 50% of your income to in charity, and there's a lot of discussion about what does it actually mean 50%, and how do you give it. So my understanding of it is take the net income, and then after the basic expenses you have a certain amount that remains, and from that particular amount, which is actually income, excludes the basic expenses. So with that final income, that actually is the income, you divide that, and then out of that 50% we give in charity and 50% we keep for saving, etc. And yeah, you may say, wow, that's really difficult after we minus out all the basic needs. Maybe nothing remains. Well, that is again a point of culture. It's again a point of we need to be qualified to give charity. So when we do this consciously, nobody's forcing us to do charity. That is again in the mode of goodness, in the mode of sattva guna. But if we're forced to give charity by somebody else, and we're supposed to do it as a matter of obligation, it's not anymore in the mode of goodness anyway. So it will not give us results that lead us to liberation or upliftment. So these are the points to consider. If you have any comments or questions below, comment and take care. Hare Krishna. Purandaradasa ki jai. Anudina Ajaneya Maduvaravi.